Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin episode. So, Bitcoin has been falling and falling fast over the past 2 days. And I wanted to go ahead and put this video out because of what's been going on with Bitcoin, plus what I've done in regards to Bitcoin falling. And I want to go ahead and explain my thought process and what's going on here and how I expect to profit from this opportunity. So Bitcoin came all the way down to about 53,400, about 53,700, somewhere in that range today. And when in my video yesterday, I talked about how incredibly important it is that it should hold this 200-day exponential moving average, the 200-day EMA. It did not hold that level, and as a result, as soon as it went right through that level at about 58,200, it continued to fall all the way down to where I said here at about 53,600, 700 in that range. So during this time, I decided that I was going to go ahead and buy the dip because this is a moment of extreme panic. This is a moment of extreme selling going on right now. And Bitcoin, as far as I was concerned, it's always going to be a long-term hold for me. I'm not too concerned on the short-term momentum, the short-term price action that we have here for Bitcoin. So I went in here and I actually bought in about 54,300. The whole idea here behind this buy for Bitcoin was to see if Bitcoin would actually stabilize, if it would actually bounce, and then if it doesn't bounce, to then further buy it into this little range here. I put this new support level here at about 51,000 to about 52,000. This is the area where Bitcoin found support back in February before it made its giant run up. So this is primarily what I was betting on. And so far, we've seen Bitcoin come back up again and attempt to push through the now new resistance point here at about 57K. So far, it's gotten rejected off of that level, but this is a level I'm going to be monitoring very closely. I also decided to, because of the price action we have here, I also decided to buy some IBIT as well. So this is this is the Bitcoin spot ETF in one of my brokerage accounts. So I have here both of my two buys in IBIT that I've done recently here at 33 and 68 cents, and again here at 31 and 64 cents. And again, the idea here is the same as actually buying the Bitcoin, basically buying it here and then continuing to buy it below there and buy it more heavily as it approaches this lower support level that I've drawn in. So the idea here, very solid. Again, long term for me, I'm going to wind up looking for a Bitcoin recovering and hopefully making another push back to 70K maybe within the next month or two. That's what I'm looking for right now. This is still a long-term hold for Bitcoin, the actual Bitcoin itself. However, for the IBIT, that might wind up being more of a short-term trade. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to make that more of a short-term trade or not. But the Bitcoin itself is going to be a long-term hold for sure. Now, again, this is what I posted, and I posted this just as I actually did it, as I made those buys for the Bitcoin itself here, and again at 54,300, and then the IBIT that I bought as well at about $31.64. So the reason why Bitcoin has been falling so much is because what I talked about yesterday here, the Mt. Gox Bitcoin repayments, and the fact that this is helping push down the Bitcoin price. This is almost like a kind of a black swan event, but this is not something that actually hurts Bitcoin. This is something that just that injects more volatility into the market. So they had, according to Crypto Briefing, there was a letter that was sent out here, and they've basically Mt. Gox has set out a notice regarding repayment in Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and they confirmed basically that they're starting this redistribution. Okay, so this is something that we have talked about several times on this channel. This is something I've gone over. It's not really a huge concern for me. In fact, again, I use this as an opportunity to buy the dip for Bitcoin and don't look back, basically. But this is something that's going to affect the Bitcoin price. It's going to continue to weigh on it heavily as those repayments are happening, and people who've got their Bitcoin are deciding to sell that Bitcoin after waiting 7, 10, 10 plus years or so in order to get their money back. All right. So if you take a look at their Bitcoin spot ETF dashboard here, we can see that the daily net inflow was negative. And again, this is of the 3rd of July. The market wasn't open on the 4th, but the 5th, most likely, we are probably going to wind up seeing a positive number on this because IBIT actually did pretty well today. Again, going back to our IBIT chart, it actually finished off green. It was actually it went down quite a ways, down to about $31.61. So it actually came in. I do think that we're going to see this turn green. And again, if we take a look at the distribution here for the total inflows or the total net flows, it has been not great over the past couple of days. There's been a lot of sellers, net sellers of IBIT and other Bitcoin spot ETFs. If you take a look at our liquidations for the total crypto liquidations chart, that's also not great, especially on the 3rd of July, $400 million worth of longs were liquidated. On the 4th of July, $300 million worth of longs were liquidated. So this is also part of the reason why Bitcoin has gone down so much. And if you take a look at our Bitcoin alone, 141 million on the 3rd of July, and about on the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, we had about 82 million worth of longs that were liquidated. So there's a lot of liquidity that's being flushed out of the market right now. A lot of longs that are honestly getting destroyed out there, and yeah, I think that overall, this is actually pretty healthy for Bitcoin. We see this flush out. Usually, Bitcoin tends to flush, and then after that, you start seeing some spot buyers come in. You start seeing a lot less sellers, and you start to see some seller exhaustion as well. Now, it's important to put this into context because Bitcoin normally has a very strong July. And again, I said before that July tends to be a very positive month. The average is a gain of over 6%, and then the median is a gain of almost 9%. So at a negative 10% level right now, this would be the worst performing July in all of Bitcoin's history if this level holds. And I honestly don't think it's going to hold. I think that this is going to turn out to be another July, just like most of the other Julys that we've had. And even if it is going to be a negative July, I don't think it's going to be a strongly negative July. I think that this is actually unusual, and as a result of the Mt. Gox Bitcoin repayments and some FUD also. But I wasn't the only one who was actually buying the dip on this. So whales have been buying the dip on this too. This is Bitcoin whale now number 11. Previously was Bitcoin whale number 12. Bitcoin whale number 11 has been buying Bitcoin like crazy on today, the 5th of July. We can actually see on here that the Bitcoin whale has added almost 700 Bitcoin to their account. Look at this. All these buys coming in here for these whales. This whale right here has been taking advantage of every single dip and has been buying the dip almost religiously since Bitcoin started to plummet. And I think this right here is I think it can mean basically that there's further support happening for Bitcoin. And this is a whale that will probably be buying more Bitcoin as it tends to go lower. And I said especially in that 50K range, 50K, 52K, I can definitely see this whale is going to be buying some more. And this is probably going to, if it keeps up at this pace, it's going to catapult it to the number 10 spot. And it's going to be the number 10 largest Bitcoin whale. So this is something I'm going to be watching very closely. And it's just always interesting to see what the whale behavior is like. And in fact, if you take a look at the Bitcoin balances for whale addresses last active within 24 hours, you can see here that on the 3rd of July, there was another major move up from 523,000 Bitcoin to 600,000 Bitcoin. All right, now again, this is only for the 3rd of July. When we start to see data for the 4th and the 5th of July, this number I think is going to be up much, much, much higher. But again, if you guys are interested in seeing that, I'm going to be posting and talking about this. And if you want to see that, make sure you follow me on social media, on Threads, on X, and also subscribe to the channel. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is another reason why I'm confident in Bitcoin heading into this month, is because Bitcoin options are pointing towards max pain price of about $60,000 on the 12th of July. So the 12th of July, next week, we have a pretty even number of calls and pretty even number of puts. That's almost $1 billion with both of them combined. But the max pain price right now is 60K, and I do think it's possible that we wind up seeing 60K by the end of next week. That's definitely a possibility. Now, as a reminder, Bitcoin is hovering in the $56,000 range. All right. So this is not too crazy. Now, if you back this out and you take a look at the 26th, which is the largest, basically the end of month expiry, that's 63K. So again, that's a pretty significant bump up from where we are right now. And again, very possible from a trader's perspective that we wind up seeing this price at least come somewhere close to that level. And you know what's even crazier is that you start to see this $100,000 strike price for a lot of these call options that are expiring at the end of July. I don't know who's putting these in, but there are $200 million worth of call options set to expire at the end of the month that have a strike price of 100,000 Bitcoin. So this is wild to me. I don't think I've ever seen such a huge amount of bullishness line up on the sidelines and say Bitcoin's going to be at or near $100,000 by the end of the month. Now, this I don't think is going to be as likely, but definitely 63K, that's definitely a possibility in my opinion. All right, but let me know what you guys are doing. Have you been buying the dip on Bitcoin? And if you have been buying the dip on Bitcoin, what is your plan for your Bitcoin? But anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.